and ripped her pants. And
Did you know that, Heather?
yeah, and she was so embarrassed because her underwear was tie-dye.
Yeah,
And everybody could see it, and then Nate kept on looking at her, and he was like so, I could just tell that he was so embarrassed because she just wouldn't stop laughing, and it was so funny, and she just kept on playing, and it was hilarious.
So of all the things we talk about tonight, I didn't think we were going to get the tie-dye underwear. I did not think that was going to be part of it. I don't know how to respond to that one.
I remember when I first met her at Fusion, it was like a soccer club. I knew she was going to be, like, she was just goofy. She was loving to everybody, and it was really nice. And when we got back together for school soccer, I remember seeing her, and then we would do these, like, shooting drills, and she would always scream at us to miss. And she'd be, like, screaming, like, you suck, and all that stuff. And we'd be trying to shoot, and she'd throw us off. And then she'd always win, like, the rondos. And, there was something.
She was not shy. She was not shy.
And we'd do, like, these, like, conditioning drills. And, like, we'd have to put where, like, our feet were 6 inches off the ground, and when she would do it, she would be screaming, like just complaining, and it would be really funny because everybody would laugh.
Great story. Thank you. How about on the end? In the end.
All right, well, everybody's exposing her today, but...
Oh, wait. Before you sure?
I'm not going to expose her.
Okay, all right. The PG crowd.
We were at a tournament, and both her knees were sore, so she decided to ice her knees. So we were in the hotel lobby, and the workers were saran wrapping ice bags to her knees. The ice bags kept, like, breaking and melting, so the whole lobby had pools of just water. And then we went outside to play volleyball, and she had cookies. She dropped the cookies right on her.
Really?
She dropped all the cookies all over her, so the cookies mixed with all the melted ice. And she was sitting in a soggy pool of cookies. Yeah.
She didn't complain though, did she?
She started crying.
Oh, well, that's probably true. I don't want to see the picture. Oh, yes, I do. Let me see the picture. So, and your first name? Kaylee. So if you want to see the ice bags and the cookies, it's on Kaylee's phone after. Anybody else? Right over here, yeah.
We were in my grandma's house, and we were playing this Easter egg hunt because it was an Easter egg. She was so competitive that she got almost all the eggs in the house. She was the fastest one.
How many years was that ago?
2 or 3 years.
And how old are you?
10.
You're 10. So this was she was that competitive that she got all the Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Did she give you any?
Yeah.
She did?
Yeah, some of them.
Are you as competitive as her? You are? What did you like about her the most, you think?
I think she's funny.
Funny. She was funny. All these stories, this group over there, they got a lot of funny stories.
Yeah. I got one more.
You do? Okay, it's all you.
It was DJ, me, Grace, and my sister Ellie and Grace, and we were on the trampoline. We were playing the popcorn game that you're supposed to pop the other person, and they all
Wait, it's what game?
when the popcorn game that you try to pop.
I'm such a nerd. I don't know. So popcorn game, you're supposed to pop the other guy. Go ahead.
And they all jumped at the same time, and I went almost, and I jumped so high I almost landed on my head.
And what did she do? She helped you?
Started laughing.
She started laughing, and then she helped you, right? Good. We got to that part. Excellent.
Father, right over here.
Yeah. Oh, yes, please.
Hi, I'm Ava's grandmother, and she's always been such a loving child and a bit of a wise guy from a young age. Her and I were playing a board game one day. I think she had to be about 4, and she leans in close to me real sweet, and she pats me on my cheek and says, "You are my sunshine." And I said, "Oh," and she slapped me on my cheek a couple of times. She goes, That's all.
We're going to end with that story. The stories that we heard tonight, and we're going to have a chance to share these stories after in the gym, but the stories we heard tonight, let me tell you why it's important. These are stories that acknowledge how important she was. The song that she sang, what was the quote? "You are my sunshine," right? In our lives, we're faced with choices. And many times in our lives, we search for light, right? There are times, maybe tonight, maybe last week, maybe next week, when everything feels dark. When you look for the light in your life and you say to yourself, it's crushing. And you want optimism, and you want hope, and you want kindness, and you want charity. The stories we heard tonight, other than the competitive ones and stealing the Easter eggs, are all about someone who acknowledges the value and the worth and the dignity of the other person. If there's one thing that she did over and over again, when she spent time with you or when you were with her, you understood that you had value, right? You understood that she looked at you, she didn't look beyond you. She advocated for you. And as heavy as our hearts are right now, what would she say to us? She would say that if we want to give her the value of her memory, then we embrace those things that she embraced, right? We live a life that acknowledges all those virtues that she lived. Heather, when I saw you in church, my heart broke for you, as all our hearts are breaking. But I want to tell you what I remembered and what I was reminded of when we prayed. That every single person in this church is important. And that even though I didn't know Ava, I knew Heather. And I talked to Heather and her sister, and I understood Ava's importance. My friends, in our lives, there are so many things and people and places that tell us that we don't matter. I'm here to tell you that you should never be with somebody like that. You should never be in a circle of friends that tells you that you don't matter. And if she were here, she would tell you that. In our heart of hearts, church, when it's good, defines that value. That regardless of where we come from or where we're going or how we define ourselves, that we're important. There's a great quote from Paul to the Corinthians where he says that we are what we are by God's grace, and God's grace towards us has not been in vain. We are what we are by God's grace, and God's grace towards us has not been in vain. And that we believe from the moment of our conception that God calls us into life. That's why tonight is so hard. Because someone like Ava, whose life was just beginning, is no longer with us. But I'm here to tell you that she lives on in the way that you live. She lives on in the things that you believe. And more than ever, she's with our God, telling God exactly how important each and every one of you are. As we finish this prayer service tonight, we have to remember why Ava was and is important, and to treat each other as she treated us, knowing full well that when we do that, we give her life and her memory